Level 1. The porch. You're 22 and you live in a city that costs more than it used to and pays less than it should. You have a car that burns oil and a lease that ends in 3 months, and a bank account that has $200 in it on a good week. You work at a shipping warehouse, $14 an hour, 40 hours a week. You load and unload trucks. You scan packages. You move other people's things from one place to another, and you go home and you have nothing. Not broke. Just the kind of broke where you do the math every Sunday night, and the math always comes out the same. Tight. Manageable. Zero room. You know packages. You know them the way a mechanic knows engines. You know the Amazon tape and the chewy boxes and the way a Best Buy shipment feels different from a clothing order. You know which carriers run which neighborhoods and what time the UPS truck finishes its loop on the east side and what a signature-required sticker means versus a leave-at-door tag. You know this because it's your job, and your job is the only thing you're good at right now. The first one isn't planned. You're driving home on a Thursday in November, a neighborhood you cut through to avoid the highway. Big houses, wide driveways, a UPS box sitting on a porch step, no overhang, starting to get wet from the light rain. You slow down because of the rain, not because of the box. You stop at the stop sign. You look at the box. You look at the street. Empty. 4:47 p.m. Everyone is still at work. Everyone here has somewhere to be during the day. You tell yourself you're just going to look. You pull over. You walk up the path like you own it. You pick up the box. You put it in your trunk. You drive away. Your hands don't even shake. That part surprises you later. You expected fear. What you got was something quieter, something practical. You open the box at home. A KitchenAid stand mixer. $349 retail. You don't need a stand mixer. You sell it on Facebook Marketplace for $130 the next morning. Cash. Gone in 4 hours. The buyer doesn't ask where you got it. Nobody ever asks where you got it. $130 is almost 10 hours at the warehouse. You got it in 45 seconds on a Thursday because it was raining and a box was sitting in the rain, and you slowed down for the weather. You do it again the following week. 2 boxes, same neighborhood, same window, a Vitamix and a set of AirPods, $190 combined on Marketplace. Then again the week after, you start timing the routes. You know the UPS loop ends between 4:30 and 5:15 depending on traffic. You know FedEx runs later, sometimes past 6. You know the Ring doorbell camera covers the porch but not the street. You know if you move fast enough the footage is just a person walking up and walking away. No plates, no face, just a shape and a coat. By the end of the month you've taken 11 packages. You've made $740. The warehouse pays you $2,240 a month before taxes. You made $740 in 4 weeks of occasional stops on your way home. The math does something to your thinking. The math always does something to your thinking. Level 2. The route. You build a route, not random neighborhoods anymore. A route 12 streets across 3 zip codes. You chose them because the houses are large enough that people order frequently, close enough together that you can cover all 12 in under an hour, and far enough from your apartment that nobody connects the thefts to a single area. You drive the route Tuesday through Friday between 5:00 and 6:15 p.m. You skip Mondays because Monday deliveries are lighter. You skip weekends because people are home on weekends and home means witnesses, and witnesses are the only thing that ends this. You buy a magnetic license plate cover from an auto parts store. $18. It clips over your real plates in 4 seconds and comes off in 3. You put it on before the route and take it off after. Your real plates never appear in a neighborhood where you work. The cover plates are from a junkyard car 3 states over. They're not stolen. They're just old plates on a car that doesn't exist anymore. You paid $40 for them from a guy at the junkyard who didn't write anything down. You get selective. Not every box, you learn to read the labels without stopping. Amazon boxes under a certain size go to clothing. Chewy boxes are dog food, heavy, low value. Best Buy tape means electronics. Apple tape means very high value, also very trackable. You leave the Apple boxes. You're not greedy. Greedy is how this ends. You take the middle, the $80 to $300 range items that people file insurance claims for and forget about. Items that don't trigger federal investigations, items that disappear into the secondary market and never come back. You open a second marketplace account under a different name. You use a prepaid Visa to verify it. Nothing links to your real identity. You sell everything within 48 hours of taking it. Electronics, small appliances, clothing still in packaging, supplements, candles, cookware. You price everything 30 to 40% below retail. It moves fast at that price. Fast movement means no inventory. No inventory means nothing in your apartment that shouldn't be there. You quit telling yourself you're going to stop. You stop telling yourself that somewhere around week 6. It's not that you decided to keep going. It's that stopping became a decision that required effort, and continuing required nothing. Continuing was just Tuesday. By month 2, you're clearing $3,200 a month from the route. The warehouse pays you $2,240. The math has fully flipped. The honest money is the smaller number now. You keep the warehouse job. The warehouse job is your cover, and your cover is what makes everything else look normal. You go to work, you load trucks, you scan packages, you drive home the long way, and you stop where you stop. Your coworkers think you got a raise. You let them think that. Level 3. The system. You bring in Marcus. Marcus is 24, and he works the same warehouse shift, and he's been complaining about rent since September. You don't explain everything at once. You tell him about one box, one Thursday. He listens the way you listened to yourself 6 months ago. Skeptical, then interested, then doing the math. The math closes everyone. Marcus drives a different car. That's the point. 2 cars, 2 routes, twice the ground covered. You split the territory. You keep the 3 zip codes you know. You give Marcus 4 new ones 2 counties over. You give him the plate cover method. You give him the timing system. You give him the marketplace rules. Under your name, nothing. Under a clean account, 48 hours, move everything fast. You take 30% of his take for the operation overhead. The system, the knowledge, the fence. The fence is a man named Curtis who runs a consignment resale shop in a strip mall near the interstate. Curtis is 50 and has been reselling since before there was a word for it. Curtis pays 35 cents on the dollar and asks nothing, and gives cash and keeps no records. Curtis's shop has a back room. The back room is where the real transactions happen. You've been in the back room 6 times. The back room smells like cardboard and something floral from a diffuser on the shelf. Curtis has a system too. Everyone in this chain has a system. You add a 3rd driver in month 2 of the network. A woman named Priya, who responds to a vague Craigslist post you write about flexible driving work. You vet her for 2 weeks before you tell her anything real. She's 27. She has a clean car and no record and needs money, the way everyone in this story needs money. You meet her in a parking lot. You explain the route. You explain the rules. She asks if anyone gets hurt. You say no. She asks if it's violent. You say no. She asks what happens if someone sees her. You say you walk back to your car and you drive away normal and you don't come back to that street. She nods. She starts Tuesday. 3 drivers. 4 territories. Curtis as the fence. You processing marketplace volume under 2 accounts, plus a 3rd you opened last month. The operation is generating $18,000 a month in merchandise moved. Your cut after Curtis and the driver splits is $7,400 in a month. You're 22 years old and you make more per month than your parents make combined, and you got there by slowing down in the rain on a Thursday in November and picking up a box that was getting wet. You move to a better apartment. You buy a real bed. You send your mom $300 in a card for her birthday and tell her you got promoted at the warehouse. She calls you to say she's proud. She asks if you're eating enough. You tell her you're eating fine. Fine means different things depending on who's saying it. You eat fine. You just don't eat, honestly. The packages keep moving. Someone ordered something. Someone is waiting for it. You take it and you sell it, and they file a claim and Amazon replaces it, and the cycle completes. The trillion-dollar company absorbs the loss. The individual absorbs the inconvenience. You absorb the cash. That's the logic you use. The logic is a door. You walked through it a long time ago, and you stopped looking back. Level 4. The footage? The investigation doesn't start with you. It starts with a pattern. A detective in the county property crimes unit notices an unusually high volume of package theft reports clustered across 3 zip codes between 500 and 6:30 p.m. on weekdays. Not scattered reports. Clustered. Same window. Same days. Same product categories. Small appliances. Electronics. Mid-range retail value. She maps the reports on a board. The map has a shape. The shape has a center. She requests camera footage from 8 addresses across the cluster. Ring doorbells, Nest cameras, a neighbor's dash cam that happened to be running. She gets 34 clips. She watches all 34. In 19 of them, the same car appears on the street within 2 minutes of the reported theft. A gray 4-door sedan. No visible plates. The plate cover. She notes the plate cover. The plate cover tells her something. A random opportunist doesn't use a plate cover. A plate cover means planning. Planning means a pattern. A pattern means it's worth a task force request. The task force watches the zip codes for 2 weeks. They park unmarked vehicles at intervals along your 3 routes. They don't stop anyone. They watch. On a Tuesday in week 2, a gray sedan with covered plates makes 4 stops in 40 minutes. They follow it at distance. They follow it to a strip mall near the interstate. They photograph you carrying 2 boxes into a back room of a consignment shop. They photograph Curtis accepting the boxes. They photograph the exchange. You hand him boxes. He hands you cash. The whole thing takes 4 minutes. They have all 4 minutes on video. Curtis cooperates the same day they knock. Curtis has been in that back room a long time. Curtis knows exactly how this goes and exactly what cooperation looks like, and exactly what it gets you. Curtis gives them your phone number, your first name, the make and model of your car, and the approximate schedule of your drops. Curtis gives them Marcus too. Not Priya. Curtis doesn't know Priya's name. You never told Curtis about Priya? They pull the marketplace accounts. The prepaid Visa traces to a purchase at a convenience store. The convenience store has a camera. The camera shows your face. Your face is in the ring footage from the Vitamix house from month 1. Same face. Different coat. Same face. They have you from 2 directions, and they haven't knocked yet. They arrest Marcus first. Marcus folds in the same afternoon. Marcus gives them your full name, your address, your license plate, the real one, and the names of all 3 zip codes you work. Marcus gives them Priya. You didn't tell Marcus about Priya, but Marcus saw her once in a parking lot when you were coordinating routes, and Marcus remembered. Marcus's memory costs Priya everything. She's arrested the following morning. She had a clean record. She doesn't anymore. They come for you on a Friday. You're at the warehouse on the clock, scanning packages. A detective and 2 officers walk through the loading dock at 2:15 p.m. Your supervisor watches from the break room window. Your coworkers stop moving. The scanner is in your hand when the detective says your name. You set the scanner down on the conveyor belt, very carefully like it matters, where you put it. It doesn't matter where you put it. Nothing about that moment matters, except the part where you hear your name. The charges are felony theft by receiving, felony organized theft, and conspiracy. The organized theft charge is the weight. It accounts for the network, the drivers, the fence. The total merchandise value documented across all 3 drivers over 8 months is $94,000 in other people's packages. The number is exact because the detective is exact, and the spreadsheet is exact, and the Ring doorbell footage is exact, and the receipt Curtis kept in a locked box in the back room, because Curtis kept receipts, is exact. Your public defender is good but overworked. He negotiates. You cooperate fully. You give them everything about Curtis's operation beyond your account. You give them the Craigslist method. You give them the plate cover supplier. It helps. It doesn't help enough. You plead guilty to felony organized retail theft and conspiracy. You get 26 months. Marcus gets 20. Priya gets 18 months suspended with probation because it was her first offense and her lawyer filed the right motion. You're 22. You'll be 24 when you get out. Your mom finds out from your supervisor, who called your emergency contact, because you didn't show up for your shift the next day and didn't call out. Your mom is your emergency contact. She didn't know she was going to get that call. Nobody ever knows they're going to get that call. She visits every 3 weeks. She drives an hour and 40 minutes each way. She sits across a bolted-down table and asks about the food and the people and whether you're sleeping. You tell her everything is fine. Fine is the word that means it's wrong, but the details don't fix anything. She brings you books. Practical books. A book about logistics management. A book about supply chain operations. She thinks you'll go back to warehousing when you get out. You have a felony now. Warehousing does background checks. The industry you know best is the industry that will look at your record and close the door. You get out on a Monday. You're 24. You move back to your mom's apartment. You sleep in your old room. There's a shelf with trophies from a baseball league you played in at 14. You're 24 and you have a felony theft conviction, and the only skill on your resume is moving packages, and the only reference you have is a warehouse supervisor who watched you get arrested on the loading dock at 2:15 on a Friday. You apply for driving jobs, delivery jobs. The background check comes back, and the application closes. You apply for warehouse jobs, the background check comes back, and the application closes. You apply for a stockroom position at a grocery store. The manager calls you back. He's seen the record. He says he appreciates your honesty on the form. He says he'll keep your application on file. He means he won't. You get a job at a car wash. 12s an hour. You dry windows. You vacuum interiors. You direct cars through the track. $12 an hour is $2 less than the warehouse paid you. When this started, you made $7,400 a month when this was running. Now you make others a $920 a month before taxes, and you dry other people's windows in a strip mall 2 miles from the neighborhood where you ran your first route. You drive past the houses sometimes. Not on purpose. The route runs through your daily life now the way it always did. The houses are still there. The porches are still there. The boxes still appear between 4:30 and 6:15 p.m. on weekdays. The Ring cameras are still there. The footage is still recording. The detective's spreadsheet is closed. Your row is filled in. Someone else's row is open. Your mom keeps the birthday card you sent her. The one with the $300 inside. It's in the kitchen drawer. She didn't spend the money on herself. She used it for your commissary account when you were inside, and she never told you that was where it went. You found out when she mentioned it last week like it was nothing. Like it was just a thing she did. The $300 you sent her from $70–$1,400 a month of taking other people's packages ended up paying for your own soap and toothpaste in a federal facility. That's the math. That's always the math. The math takes everything, including the things you sent home. Hit like if the math got you.